and compete. I didn't really think about it. I was thrown into competing because I was a good dancer. In the beginning, they said, oh, you should compete. But regardless of whether I was not going to compete or not, I wanted to excel in that field. Parang because tinapon na ako dun sa sitwasyon na yon, so parang paninindigan ko na yon. Whether I like it or not is beside the point. But because I'm thrown in that situation, parang there's no chance to complain. Wala na yung complaints, no room for doubts. Parang I'm just gonna do it because the situation is here already. When you're faced with that circumstance, you're gonna look for the best way to deal with it. I mean, probably if I tell you, oh, sige, JM, join the competition, and then probably you might say, paano, wala naman akong pera to join, wala naman akong pangpamasahe, wala naman akong lesson, wala akong technique. I mean, there are all these conditions. Now, how can you join a dance competition? You'll say you don't have the means, you don't have the money to pay for the lesson, or you may have the money, but how are you going to have the lesson? Who is your teacher? Oh, if I compete, what costume? I don't know anything about costumes, or I don't know what's a good partner. I mean, there's so many things in line, but the thing is, when I was thrown into that situation, I didn't even doubt anymore that if I join, baka matalo ako, or baka hindi ko kaya yung sayaw. Wala yun eh. It's all out of my mind. I didn't entertain any of those doubts, and if you think about that, that will be very helpful, and that will be very applicable even in your daily life. Like if you're faced with a situation, you look at the end goal. I hope that doon na kayo tumingin sa goal. Huwag niyo nang isipin yung mga bato-bato, the obstacles along the way that you have to step on to be in that goal. But you just have to be really goal-oriented. Of course, along the way, you'll be passing through this and that, but if you're really true to your goal, it will just happen. If you just, like for me, I know I was gonna compete, so I will practice. Will it be a good practice or not? It's okay. I'll take the first step, I'll practice. And as I go take the first step, it will lead me to the second step and the third step. Along the way, you will discover a lot of things. And then you will improve yourself that way. So it's also like a trial and error, but then that's how it is in life also. On the spot, you're faced with this situation, it's a decision. You have to think. You have choices. Am I going to do this or am I going to do that? So even in dancing, ganun din ang nangyari sa akin. Parang when I started competing, even for a few years, I tell myself, I don't even like to compete. I am not basically competitive with the others. I am competitive with myself. I have high standards with myself, but I am not. I don't want to scratch people's back and tell them, oh, ako mas magaling ako sa inyo, ha? Ako dapat ang #1. Hindi rin naman ako ganon. But because I was also very focused with myself, I just want to dance well. I'm gonna make the best out of it. So eventually, probably my aura, my vibration, my energy and style has affected the others, and maybe I was better than them. Because dancing is very subjective, eh. Diba? Parang when you watch dancing and you were made to judge a couple, this couple and that couple, of course you have basic things to consider. Speed, tama pa yung timing, mas synchronized pa sila dalawa. I mean, do you ever wonder, like when you watch competitions, dance competitions, did you watch? Oh, they didn't watch the last time. I mean, they're not into dancing. But if you have the experience or the chance to watch, even just between two couples competing, what can make this couple or that couple win? There are a lot of very small factors, but they can affect the judgment of winning. Like, are they synchronized, connected ba sila? Do they show fun in dancing? Do they look at each other? Is there genuine joy? If it's, for example, cha-cha, are they true to the character of the dance? Na cha-cha ba talagang sinasayaw nila? Hindi swing or hindi pasodoble? Or are they on time? Do they have speed? Kasi syempre pag competition, medyo dapat kailangan medyo may speed, may energy, may vitality. A couple that's very alive versus a couple that's not so alive. A couple that smiles because if the music is happy, syempre naman, you're gonna have that smile on your face. You know, it's hard to dance with a very happy song and you're frowning. I mean, are you consistent with the mood of the song? And even if you didn't know technique, kunyari wala naman kayong alam sa technique sa counting, just looking at both couples, you can assess siguro naman why you will give this couple the score, a little better score than the other one. It's also a lot of sensing and feeling. Nasa sense nyo na mas solid sila, mas total sila. I mean, ang daming factors to consider, but what I'm saying here is, if you're really goal-oriented, you will not be disturbed or be bothered by all these underlying factors, or you have to be aware that you shouldn't. Because along the way, kung isipin nyo, paano naman ako magko-compete, kulang naman sa budget, saan naman ako kukuha ng costume, saan naman yung partner ko. Parang kung isipin mo lahat mahirap, then you can't reach that goal. Somehow, I also believe that once you have a goal and you really like to do that, nature takes care of you. Parang nag-a-align din ang nature eh. It's cooperating with you. Somehow along the way, if you really like something, you will eventually get it if you focus yourself in it. So, even in dancing or even in other factors in life, we are all filled with ideas and we have to be aware of those ideas. Parang kunyari gusto mo na, gusto ko talaga makasayaw ng cha-cha eh. Pag inisip mo lang yon, then that's it. Maybe next you will take the first step. Oh, maybe I can listen to this song. Ito ba ang cha-cha? Okay. Ito pala yung beat nun. Okay, next. So, kung ganun yung beat, what's the basic step? Then you start the basic step. So, as you spark your interest in something will happen along the way. Doors open, you learn more about it. Kasi hindi ka naman gagaling. If you discover something and you like to do that, the more new ideas will come in to support what you like to do. Because you can only be good in it if you master it. How can you master it? By practicing, by focusing your ideas into it. Like, how did I learn to be good in dancing? Well, aside from the interest, first of all, it sparked my interest. Okay, I want to compete. Next, what are the ingredients for me to be able to sustain my competing life? I have to practice as often as I can. Kasi practice makes perfect. Even if you don't reach that level of perfection, but you still need to be there at that level of mastery that you can be judged and say that you're the best. So actually it's practice, it's repetition. You have to do it until it becomes comfortable in your body. For instance, like a simple dance like cha-cha. You don't know much about it, you learn the timing, you learn the counts. Next, you learn your posture, we give you the basic steps. Next, you have to practice it. You remember that you have 5 steps in cha-cha. For example, I'll show you cha-cha. We have 5 steps for basic. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's basic cha-cha. Sige, gawin na natin para medyo break tayo. Cha-cha, we have 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back basic yun. Paatras kasi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Forward basic cha-cha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in short, parang, cha-cha pala has 10 steps. Okay, so I'll do 10 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's your back basic and forward basic. And then maybe if I teach you now, you will say, how to stand. So I have to give you the posture. So you have to be aware what tools you need to get started. Like number 1, for instance, for dancing is posture. So I have to tell you to pull up, derecho, pasok yung chan, pasok nyo yung hip nyo, huwag kayong uslip, pasok nyo, pasok, up, elevate. Keep your posture forward, we don't lean back. Like a simple lesson in dancing, we never lean back, so we always keep our posture forward. So, okay, straight na yung katawan ko, gano'n. So, forward na yung posture ko, maintain the posture. Pag sumandal, walang sandal, forward. So, I have to keep on practicing that. Then next, parang all these little techniques. Okay, I have to angle my body. Okay, when I go back, angle ng konti, forward, angle ng konti, may angle. Parang wag naman diretso. So, that's the second technique I learned. Next,
Kailangan diretso lahat ng leg action. Hindi pwedeng nagbe-bend ang mga knee. Hindi pwedeng ganon, bakli-bakli ang tuhod. So I have to straighten my knee all the time. So there are so many steps to learn on the technique. The timing. Have to know your beat value. 1 beat to 1 beat. Hindi pwedeng half-half. Ganon, hindi pwedeng mabilis. 1 beat, half-half, 1. So it's a step-by-step until eventually, as I practice, eventually I'll say, oh, okay, now I know the steps. I have to add a little speed or a little sharpness. So 2, 3, cha-cha-cha. Yung parang kailangan may attitude. So layers and layers we add and add until we become really good in it. So even in, I think, in your everyday life, when you have a goal and you want it, you have to know the basic principles about it. You have to get all the ideas to support what you want. Get to know it, practice it, imbibe on it. You have to imbibe every day. I mean, like, if I really want to be good in something,